have you been with us, Beth? Because I remember that, I believe you came in because of David Yamada.
Yes, I did. I think this is my 4th year, or maybe 5th. I kind of breeze in and breeze out in New York 2 or 3 times, and I missed last year, sadly. So Anna and Mara, if you feel up to putting your cameras on, we'd love to have you join us. And if you don't, that's okay.
I think Mara's got hers on. I think it's Anna and Isabel.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Linda. Yes, Anna and Isabel. Yeah, come on aboard the crazy little ship we're going to create today. So I teach improv as a way to build soft skills, emotional intelligence. Linda, I'm going to make you co-host just in case something happens. Is that all right?
That's certainly fine.
Okay. Because in tech world, you never know, it just might, right? So I think it's a very powerful way to learn things like having your chair go down. With ways to engage people, and which is going to help us be connected, and also to build the confidence to speak up and the ability to let go a little bit and listen, all of which is so vitally important to all the things that we're talking about today and we're learning about. So I'm going to ask us all to take a deep breath together, just to kind of get here. Thank you for that. And just plant in the back of your own mind, maybe 1 or 2 highlights from today that you think are like compelling to you, to the work that you want to do, or something that inspires you. We'll see later if maybe the things we do in play are relevant to those things. And then I won't have to talk much. We can just start with an activity.
Nah.
Okay. So the first one is called Hello, Goodbye. And all we're going to do is get comfortable turning our cameras off and on. And because of today and Linda's wonderful facilitation, most of us are comfortable with that. Yet I imagine that you may lead meetings or be in meetings where that's not always the case. And so this activity is designed to help people get more comfortable being on camera and the technical aspect of turning it on and off. So what I'm going to ask you to do is let's all turn our camera off. And it will be clunky, so don't expect it to be perfect. Give up on that idea right now. And so I'm going to ask you over the next 2 minutes to turn your camera on briefly, like I'm going to do, and just say, oh, hi, everybody. Wait a second, and then go off. And let's see what happens. Just try to do it at least three times for yourself.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Everybody.
Bye.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hello.
Oh, hi. See you
Hello.
later.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Night.
So thank you. We can all come back together on camera. So that's pretty simple, right? In terms of how you might use that in a meeting or with a group of people, any thoughts, feedback? What was the experience like for you? Put it in the chat, raise your hand, or just share it. Linda and then Carol.
Thinking that, that's a nice way to get people to feel relaxed and get over that fear of turning on the camera or doing something wrong. It's just let them play with it. So very nice idea, Beth.
Thank you. Carol, you had a thought?
Well, I had 2, just to be precise. It was like a cacophony of sounds because we were sort of all, going at once. So that was kind of funny to me. Amusing. I really didn't think I would laugh at all, by the way. I didn't know why I'm coming here because I don't feel well and I'm tired. but there you go. And the other thing I noticed was that I said 3 different things, one in a different language, which is Italian. So it's, it's just ciao.
Okay.
But I said 3 different things, without like planning. So that was interesting to me.
Mhm. All really interesting points. Yes, Isabel.
Yeah, for me it was funny. I think it was good because somehow it preserves your sense of intimacy, because you think you're in front of the camera, but you feel free to just shut up, just you shut down.
Yeah, very interesting point. That place where we move from fight or flight or freeze into speaking our own voice. I know for myself that activity came from, I was taking an improv class and we were playing a game where we had to pop on, and I'm an introvert, and this was a few months ago, so the Zoom comfort was not as much as it is now, but I was like sitting in my little living room, like terrified that I was going to have to pop my camera on. So I created that game with my improv group to get that comfort level of just come on and say something. Any thoughts from you, Mara or Jillian?
Yeah, so I've been using Zoom since about 2016, but I heard about it maybe a bit before that, and I first protested. I didn't want anyone to come into my room. I didn't want anyone to come into my house. For a lot of other reasons, but I mean, it took me a long time to get comfortable with it, and now I've used it. I've started a stream of revenue. It's very comfortable, and still things go wrong, of course. And I don't know if this is relevant or not, but I want to bring up the fact that Tuesday, Beth, I told you that I did this presentation, and there were 42 people in the room, and no one would turn their camera on.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted it to be interactive. I gave them many opportunities. We watched a video and I said, what do you think about this video? Is this controversial to you? And one person piped up and I was like, oh gosh, I'm failing. I'm not engaging people. Oh no. But it was just it was 90 minutes and I had a lot of material to present. But I wonder if maybe the anonymity of our world right now has permitted a few people to say, I don't have to show my face anymore.
It's like a withdrawal in a way.
Well, maybe they're zoomed out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're just so tired of Zooming, and it's like, okay, I'm going to show up, listen. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to show my face. I'm just going to grab my stuff and go. And it's like, no, that's not what I thought this was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so they really have to sort of, I don't know, you have to find unique ways to engage people when they don't really want to engage.
Right. And I think this is a type of activity that can help do that, along with a leadership imperative that says you must turn your cameras on, please turn your cameras on. I've done workshops like that, and they're interactive workshops for communication, and it's very limiting in terms of what I can teach if people won't show up. So, and it's complex. As in healthcare, everybody's so tired and burnt out. I have compassion for it.
I do too.
For sure. So finding ways to help increase the comfort level. It's a little nudge and invitation.
Yes, let me back up and say that I had a technical glitch, which flustered me and knocked me off my game. And so then I retracted a little bit and said, okay, I don't want to push these folks because they've already been through so much right now, because we had to switch something. And yeah, it was just like, okay, lesson. I learned many things that day. Got another one this coming Tuesday. I'm going to do better.
It's hard to when you get flustered, it's hard, right? And believe it or not, this activity and much of the work I do is to try to help us get more comfortable with that discomfort and move forward through it. So let's try it. Did anybody else want to share a thought on that one before we try another activity? So this one is called, I call it ebb tide. And what we're all going to do is we're all going to do some kind of motion that's similar to this. Doesn't have to be exact. You're not mirroring me, but you're going basically at the same pace. And then what's going to happen is when I stop, you're all going to stop. And then I'm going to start again, and we're all going to start. But after we do that once and get the kind of cadence of it, I'm going to be quiet. I'm not going to lead anything, but I'm going to invite you to stop and start the action with knowing that the group's commitment is going to, if you start something, we're going to follow you. If you stop something, we're going to follow you. And let's just see what that experience is like for us. But this is sort of what it's like. Let's get everybody doing it. Beautiful.
I feel like I'm in nursery school.
Not a bad thing. Yes, what's your son's name? Yeah, join right in. Okay, I'm going to stop us just for a second. I want to plant a little bit of seed as we're doing this to enjoy in that moment when we stop. Let's all pause for a minute, and not a minute, but 5 seconds, and just notice each other, become present together. In fact, this activity can be very useful for that. So somebody start the action.
Do you want the same action?
Yeah,
No.
something along, something similar, waving.
Sorry.
And someone stop. right, so give yourself a little applause for that. And so what are your thoughts on that experience? Who has any thoughts to share? Carol?
Yeah, I just thought of this as a New Yorker humor piece called Failing at Improv. Because I actually, I thought any one person was starting and we were going to follow that
Me
person.
too.
And then I saw so many people doing different things that I was thinking, I am really getting this wrong. So
Me
I know
too.
you can fail at improv. I mean, I think you can't, but I felt like I was. So just sharing that.
Okay, all right.
I put it on myself as to think, I thought I was confused. I tried to do a silly chicken dance
Mhm.
for a minute and no one followed. So I was
Yeah,
like,
I tried to mimic you, but I was just too shameful.
Well, and sometimes I'm a little wishy-washy in my instruction.
Yes.
And sometimes that's good because it opens a door to different interpretations, and sometimes it's confusing. Let me clarify a little bit, and we'll just do it for another 2 minutes because I think it's worth doing. We're all going to do a similar motion, a wave motion, something like this. When I say you don't have to mirror me, I don't want you to worry about, if this hand is up here, yours has to be up there. That's not, you don't have to be that synchronized with me, but just generally think of a wave motion. So let's start with that. Just generally do a wave motion.
Could I ask a question before we continue?
Yep, sure.
I'm just curious from each of you, when you are looking into your screen, are you focusing on one person or you are really able to see everybody, what they are doing?
Mara, that's actually a beautiful question, because what happens in this activity is it helps create the opportunity and maybe the ability to do both of those things. It's like our peripheral vision. What happens, and let's just, will you hold on to that for a little bit more discussion?
Sure, no rush.
Yeah, no, I think it's a wonderful insight. So the way we can let this unfold in my version of the events is to do this kind of motion. We're not going to change it to do other things, but it doesn't have to be exactly the same. Roughly the same pace as each other. And then different people are going to stop and start. Whoever stops, we're all going to stop. Whoever starts, we're all going to start. And in between those stops and starts, we're going to take maybe 3 or 4 seconds and just be in that place together. Yes, Carol.
So we don't have to copy the leader who starts.
No, it's more about stopping and starting.
Oh, okay.
Do the same general motion. So don't stop. I mean, don't twirl around in your chair or do this. We're all going to do a waving motion. That's the motion.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you for asking. So you guys willing to do it again for a minute or two? And I would invite you all to take a turn at stopping and starting the action. And you might notice what that is for you in terms of experience. And this time, I'm just going to start, but I'm not going to stop. I've already done that. I'm not going to do it anymore. That's it. All right, so thank you for doing that yet again. And Mara, let's go back to your point or your question, which I think had something to do with, are you watching individuals? Are you watching the whole group? Is that right? Or how would you frame your,
Yeah. Are you watching yourself?
okay? What would you say?
I tried, I think I wonder. I kind of pay attention to myself and then look around. But I didn't feel that I'm really like seeing the whole screen, or it took some effort for me to do that.
Okay. Anyone else thoughts on watching yourself, your others, one person? Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, Mara, I don't know why, but when I was looking at you, I saw your name under you. So I had to kind of lean in to see if I could see your hands. So I was getting confused. That's just.
Any other observations or?
I have my hand raised. Can you see that?
Oh, yes.
So I have a kind of serious contemplative thing, and then I have something a little bit more humorous. So to me, again, as a conflict resolution trained person, this is looking for nonverbals. And again, as you said, trying to look in multiple places, which is really important when you're facilitating.
Mhm.
But the funny part is, a couple of times I thought somebody's Zoom was frozen. I was like, is it frozen or?
Yeah. Great points, contemplative and then technical silliness. Anybody else? Linda?
I just want to say, I thought, it was harder. This was much harder than I would have expected. I didn't think it would be that hard, but I was really having to sort of go with the flow around the room. And for me, it was sometimes matching other people or being different than other people. But I guess you would have to say it's sort of a holistic type of experience where you're both individually doing something, but also in the flow of everyone
Individual
else.
and the flow. Does that seem like that has relevance to social fabric in some way?
I thought it was relaxing, actually.
Mm-hmm. It can be.
Surprisingly relaxing. I mean, but then I was on the go a lot, and then a few folks, I wasn't in the room all day, but I bet some of you were kind of talked out or a little bit or something. I don't know, but I certainly was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to be on, and then we're really sort of interdependent too, right? It's like, so nobody's carrying the whole load. Like if you were speaking, opening the conference this morning, Linda, versus participating in this, where sometimes you can just kind of go along and then rely on somebody else to stop or start.
And something funny was that we came to synchronize ourselves. There was a moment when we were stopped, and and at the moment that I was starting to move, I realized that two more people were just at the same moment starting or stopping. So, you
Kind
know,
of.
you develop telepathy or something like that.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Very
Um,
funny. It happened twice, so maybe I'm wrong, but it happened twice, you know.
I mean, how we get in sync with each other. And so if I were to stop, but you didn't see me stop, but Carol saw me stop and you saw Carol stop, it's like all interrelated, right? Because it doesn't take long in that moment. I think it's fascinating when it's like this awareness, and it sort of like goes like, and we stop and then we're present. Yes, Carol.
I thought it was interesting for me how I got a little caught up in whether I was right or wrong.
Wow.
Like, for instance, you said that you weren't going to start, I think, but I thought you said you weren't going to stop.
Oh.
So, and then you stopped, and I almost wanted to say, wait a minute, I thought you said you weren't going to stop, but you did stop. So it must be the right thing to do to stop. So it's like,
It's like welcome to the world of imperfection too, right?
yeah,
A little more comfort with that. Not
Yeah.
a bad thing.
I can
That's fine.
contribute to confusion because I was thinking one person stops, we all stop, and that same person starts again. This is more like my students. Whatever we do, there is someone that's confused. So that would be my comment.
Well, and you know, some of the learning can take place depending on how much time and that you have in a meeting or whatever, that by teaching each other. So if you had 3 or 4 people that already knew, if I took you guys into a group and the next group with 3 new people, I wouldn't have to do much teaching at all because they would learn from you.
Sure.
Good
But
comment.
I don't want to bring one more thing,
Sure.
although it's maybe not directly related to improvisation, but it is related to this Zoom environment. I had students that are that seem to genuinely don't want to look at themselves. That was kind of explanation.
Yep.
And so I'm curious what your experiences with that are. It's like, okay, now all of a sudden, you know, we're teaching or whatever. Now all of a sudden, I'm talking to my audience, and especially if I'm spotlighting Linda, you know, it's like, okay, I'm looking at myself. Who am I talking to? That, I don't know. It's just an interesting.
I think it's really
thing.
another important point, because we want to make it as safe as possible for people to have a voice. In my work with nurses, I try to tell myself, I can't, it's not a therapy office. I can't completely eliminate the risk, but I have to do everything possible to make it as safe as possible. And that's what I do. In fact, we can do another activity that speaks to that. Right now it's called radical acceptance. And what it is, I'm going to pick a category where there's, and again, this will be a little bit clunky at first because that's the way these things are in terms of teaching them. I'm going to think about a category like desserts. So we probably have desserts that we can name, and we're each going to take a turn in naming 3 desserts. Now, after we name one dessert, the group is going to respond with a little bit of like, oh, you know, acceptance. We don't have to, it can be nonverbal. If I teach this in the room, I say yes, but we're going to do it with waving. So for example, if I say ice cream, everybody should respond with a little bit of a wave. Can everybody respond with a little bit of a wave? Thank you. Now, the next time I'm going to name another dessert, cheesecake. And this time I want a little bit more enthusiasm, a little bit more of the wave. And on this third one, go all out, go wild with it, radical acceptance. When I say banana cream pie, awesome. So we are each going to have that experience. You did great, by the way, in your responsivity. And I will pick the next person to name 3 things, just like that, pause in between, and we will respond. And then that person, after they've done 3, will pick somebody else. Now, if you can't think of anything, just say pine cone. Okay. Or if you want to say the same thing that I said, cheesecake 3 times, go ahead, because guess what the group's going to do? We're going to still respond because it's called radical acceptance. Okay. And we'll talk about it after, but let's play it now. So I am going to ask Linda if you'll go next.
Sure, I'll go next, Beth. But before I do that, I just have to say, Beth just used my 3 that I thought of. I mean, it was so precise. I was like, what? She's reading my mind. Those are,
Watch out, Linda.
that is very, very spooky. Okay. All right, now I'll start. Gluten-free brownies with walnuts.
Ooh.
German chocolate cake.
Oh, you took mine.
Haagen-Dazs ice cream on a popsicle stick with nuts. I am so hungry.
Pick somebody else, Linda, for us.
I would love to hear Anna's contributions.
You're muted, Anna.
I think she's waiting for her.
She's
Oh, sorry.
Anna's son
Okay,
would
I'm
be
ready,
even
I'm
better,
ready.
though.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Rice pudding with cinnamon atop.
oh,
Ambrosia. Banana Foster.
Excellent. Now pick somebody else, Anna.
Isabel.
I'm not sure you might know the cookies I'm used to, though. I'll try to think
Okay.
something that might be translatable. Okay, so apple pie. Apple crumble. French toast.
Excellent, everybody. Now, Isabel, pick somebody that hasn't gone.
Yeah, Mara.
ooh. Baklava. Oh. Apple strudel. Pancakes
Mm.
with maple syrup and walnuts and fruit and things.
Mm.
Okay, Julian.
Wedding cake. White wedding cake with buttercream frosting. Mixed fruit double crusted pie.
Hmm.
Cheesecake with strawberries, fresh strawberries on top.
Awesome. And who else? Carol, I think, right?
Okay.
Carol, go.
Um,
Go ahead, Carol. We're ready for you.
banana cream pie. German chocolate cake. Tiramisu.
Now that one, my favorite.
Okay, so a little round of applause for us and our delightful experiences with desserts. So why would something like that be worth doing? Did anybody have, how would you describe your experience when you were naming desserts? Anybody? Julian, yes.
Okay, so my first inclination is this is a great icebreaker exercise in rooms like this, and it gets people laughing. It disarms them. And then they also discover shared values. I mean, really like cool values, like the German chocolate cake thing. I think I saw everybody kind of like, I heard a couple people like almost moaning, like, oh, God, I want some of that right now.
Awesome. So some shared values and a good icebreaker. What else, Carol?
I'm sorry, can you tell me what your name is in the middle? And right next to you, that's not me.
We see a completely different screen than you do.
Oh, I'm
Yes.
sorry.
So the middle is
you're-
different on everybody's screen, Carol. So
Okay, so the
probably
person
asking-
who has a Spanish accent, sorry if that's
Isabel.
Me,
Oh.
Isabel.
Isabel. So I actually, felt like I was kind of getting it because just because when you said it's difficult to find desserts that could be translatable
Yeah.
in English, and I thought, no, it doesn't matter because we just need to hear it. It's the radical acceptance where this is unconditional, so it doesn't really matter. Even though I purposely left tiramisu for last because I knew that a lot of people would like it, but I confess to that. But I actually was thinking, no, this is about this being neutral. The content is neutral. The idea is that we're able to give our enthusiasm. So it's just kind
Exactly. It's an experience, and you can reflect on how the experience was for you to feel affirmed by this group of people. It
Right.
feels good, doesn't it? It's like, that's probably, I think, partly why we're all smiling, because if I say blueberries and you guys are going like this, it's like, wow, that feels good.
But we're all hungry.
I also, but I think it's a really accessible exercise. And I'm going to try it out with the high school students I'm working with, whereas you might think high school students would guffaw at such an exercise because it seems immature or silly. The fact that it's so accessible and then they can share something about their culture. They're from all over the world. I think they're really going to enjoy hearing about each other's desserts, share desserts they haven't heard about. Isabel is waiting for you to give us a Spanish dessert that we might not have heard of, but that I could try. So I'm really excited to actually try that out tomorrow and practice. So
Oh, I'd love to hear how that goes. And don't be surprised, they will guffaw at it. That's partly their job.
well, this is what you think, but when I've tried simple exercises like this, I just did a simple one with a ball where we went down the alphabet and we each tasted a food that began with that letter while they caught the ball. And I was like, oh, they're really not going to go for this. They were actually really excited because once again, they were sharing food that was meaningful to them and they could all relate. So it wasn't like I was taxing them with something really stressful, like come up with a historical figure, So if you start easy, you can then access the bigger concepts.
Excellent. That's wonderful. Yeah.
I think anything that could potentially bring anything that has any kind of silliness to it or potentially bring a smile to someone's face right now in the world is really, really valuable and missing from so many people's lives.
So the connection, a little bit of play, it's really extraordinarily important right now.
It is.
And I just,
Yeah, go ahead, Carol.
I think it was really helpful that you said it doesn't matter if we repeat ourselves or say the same thing over and over again. Because the first time somebody said German chocolate cake, I went, oh no, I wanted to say that. And then I thought, well, but I can. So
That's interesting too, to reflect on that. Like it's like we have an idea and then we think it doesn't matter as much if somebody else has it or something. It can be very rich. I say that because when I was first starting to teach that activity in the room, I remember a young woman who just couldn't think of anything. And I realized that I had put her on the spot. She was that uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so I say those things so to help people feel more comfortable. And I've also seen the other side that it can be really hard for people to affirm if they're used to being very critical. And so the practice is important, but it's a stretch. It's like, and that, you know, people will say, oh, it's false. It's a false praise. And I'm like, well, we're not measuring your intellectual knowledge of desserts or fruit. This is an experience around affirmation. What does it feel like to be affirmed? What does it feel like to be affirming of others? And so we have one more minute. If anybody else has some other thoughts, I
I
would.
saw Linda with her hand up.
Okay, thank you, Jillian. Linda.
Thank you, Beth. I just want to say, you know, one of the great challenges of Zoom is creating that sense of warmth in the room, that sense of feeling of connection and warmth. And this little exercise is a terrific way to do it because it sort of gradually builds up over time and then you feel more relaxed. So I congratulate you on creating that warmth. However, I am quite tortured because I am starving right now. And I'm going to sit here and this is the scone. It's been waiting for me.
Eat. Go for it, man.
I don't
We
eat on
want
Zoom.
some.
I don't eat on Zoom, but I just wanted you to know it's almond and raspberry. Huh.
Mm.
So Beth, thank you so much.
Radical accept.
Yes, right. We accept your scone. Now hand it over.
Haven't figured that one out yet. Thank you so much, Beth. If people are interested in, you know, touching base with you or participating in one of your events or, you know, what should they do?
I'll put my website. It's bethboynton.com. And you can reach me at bethboynton.com. So I'll put those in the chat right now. Thank you, Linda. And I'm always happy to talk more. This stuff is very exciting. But let me just focus on this.
I love creativity and food.
It's a nice blend, right?
Really. And that's what I love about our dignity community is so much creativity grows when you create a safe space that's warm and inviting and affirming, just like you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our whole planet will benefit if we can do that. And you guys are doing the awesome work.
All right. So bring your desserts tomorrow.
We should.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are.
Thanks, everyone.
We loved it. Thank you, Beth.
Bye.
You're
That was
welcome.
wonderful.
Thanks
you.
for participating. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.